Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about the plastic surgery I got in Korea. I've been needing to get corrective double jaw surgery, but to be honest, I was very scared of doing it. But I finally decided to go through with it. In Korea, being famous for it, I decided to do it over there. Since there are so many clinics in Korea and I was completely overwhelmed, I decided to do it through DocFinder Korea. They're a medical tourism company accredited by the Korean government. Their services are completely free and they help you find the best doctor and hospital for your needs, as they've been doing it for 8 years now. They're the oldest and biggest English medical tourism agency, and they know which doctors and hospitals are the best ones for which procedures, but in the end, you're the one that chooses wherever you want to go. They come and get you at the airport, and they're going to be there during the consultation. They help you translate and understand the medical advices, and they negotiate the prices with the clinic. They can also help you book not only your hospital, but also your hotel reservation if you need them to. They also help you solve any problems you may have during the medical trip. Anna, my personal case manager from DocFinder Korea, came with me for each appointment. She also brought me pumpkin juice, which doesn't taste really good, and my medication after surgery. And overall, she was my emotional support through the whole thing, and I totally needed it. After emailing each other, I sent them some of my pictures and they started contacting clinics for me. We ended up deciding on View Plastic Surgery. They've participated in this very famous plastic surgery show that you might know called Let Me In. You might have heard of it. They have some pretty crazy transformation. They haven't had any accidents in 15 years, which was really important for me. They were also awarded for being excellent at facial contouring surgery, and the reviews online overall were really positive. So after doing lots of research, I felt sure I was going to be in safe hands with View, and I decided to go with them. So after 20 hours on the plane, it was time for me to sleep it off. So I'll see you tomorrow. Day one was consultation day. I was going to meet my doctors, but beforehand, I had lots of tests to do. Anna from DocFinder Korea was there for me throughout the whole thing, and she helped me translate everything and make sure I understood. And also, she was there to ask all the questions I had. So we arrived to View, and what was great is that everything would be done in the same building. So I wouldn't have to go anywhere else throughout the whole process, whether to do the test, the consultation, the surgery, the follow-ups, but it's also where I would be staying during my recovery. The first thing we did was to go on floor 15 to the dentist to do some imprints, and if you've ever had the pleasure, like if you've ever had to wear braces, you know how pleasant of an experience it is. They basically put this thick mousse in a metal mold in your mouth, and then they let it dry there, and then when they remove it, it feels like all your teeth will follow, but it's all good. I only had to do it 4 times. But on a serious note, it's really important to do it because they will use the imprints to create a wafer slash splint that they will use during the surgery, but also will stay in your mouth afterwards to make sure that your bite is perfect. The rest of the day was spent taking x-rays, CT scan, blood test, I don't like needles, EKG, heart tests, lots and lots of pictures. These were all really important to make sure I'm healthy enough for the surgery, but also to see my bone structure so that doctors can decide what can be done for my jaws. Some of the pictures that were taken of me were through this 3D image system, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a bit, but keep that in mind, it's going to be very useful. Then it was time for my first consultation. I went to see Dr. Yoon, who was going to be my maxillofacial surgeon. I was actually really impressed because one of the first things he told me was that I had developed a head tilt to compensate for my asymmetrical jaws, which I didn't even know I did that. Apparently, to compensate, my head started tilting on one side and it was pulling muscle in my neck and shoulders. I was feeling sore, but honestly, I thought I was just sleeping wrong or getting older or something, so I was able to add this to my very long list of reasons for the surgery, which I'll go through in details with pictures and everything in just a couple minutes. We took a look at my x-rays on this software program that was showing all the angles and measurements, which was really interesting. You can see from the clips that from the side, my jaw grew downward instead of forward, possibly due to my blocked sinuses. You might have heard me mention it on my channel, but I couldn't breathe through my nose very well, which was one of the reasons I really wanted to go through with the surgery. And from the front, you can see that my jaws were asymmetrical. Basically, one side grew longer than the other one, which was causing me some issues. I don't know if it's a birth defect or a bone development issue. It's not uncommon to not be perfectly symmetrical, but when it gets to a certain point, it really can cause a lot of issues. Which brings me to my list of reasons for getting double jaw surgery, since I'm sure a lot of you are actually wondering why I'm doing this. I made sure to take some really good before pictures and include them so you can all see why. One thing you need to know about me is that I am a big wuss. I wouldn't have went through with such a major surgery, which double jaw surgery is considered major surgery, if I had not needed it. As I mentioned, I had breathing issues my whole life, but things have been getting worse and worse. I've been dealing with lots of headaches when I would wake up. I would be very tired, and then I started developing sleep apnea, which honestly is terrifying. Basically, I was what people love to call on the internet a mouth breather. I would spend my life breathing through my mouth whether I was asleep or awake, which isn't really good for the health of your mouth. I had very sensitive gums that would bleed super easily because of it, and I had super dry lips. I was also favoring one side over the other when I was chewing or even sometimes when talking, which I noticed actually while editing my own videos. I even actually broke a tooth on that side. It also affected my speech, which again, I couldn't breathe very well, so it makes sense. Although right now I'm struggling, it's because it's only been 1 month since I've had surgery, and talking is still really hard, so bear with me. Things will get better in a few more weeks. Although the weirdest symptom was that I started having hiccups all the time when I would start eating, and I had to Google it, obviously. So apart from learning that I'm probably dying of like 3 types of different cancer, I realized I would take huge gulps of air every time I would be eating, just because I couldn't breathe while chewing, so I would give myself the hiccups all the freaking time. But jaw issues can cause digestion problems, pain, and all of these things will get much, much worse as you get older, which is mainly the reason I decided to go through with it. I also wanted to clarify that while the surgery is considered functional, aka not cosmetics, there are still some cosmetics benefits, so they simply weren't very high on my list of reasons to go through with it, but it was still a factor. So where were we? Dr. Yoon. Dr. Yoon confirmed that I indeed would benefit from double jaw surgery and that it was the best option for me. You could actually already tell from the pictures I had sent. It's a major surgery, so they only recommend it if you actually need it. And to be honest, I was super nervous about everything before meeting him. But after talking to him and seeing that View Plastic Surgery had English staff to manage my schedule smoothly, through the whole thing, I felt completely reassured. Last consultation of the day was with Dr. John, who was going to be my dentist. First off, I heard the good news that I wouldn't have to wear braces again. Yay! Gotta admit, while I was prepared for it, I was not looking forward to wearing braces again, but Dr. John was confident that the wafer and some elastics would be enough for me. From the x-rays, they were also able to determine that my symmetry was 3 millimeters compared from the left to the right, which might not sound like a lot, but you can definitely tell that it does make a huge difference. So earlier that day, they took some pictures of my face to include in this program called Morpheus, which is amazing. If you're having double jaw surgery, it can be hard to visualize what you're going to look like afterwards. So View Plastic Surgery uses this to show you some possible outcomes, and then you can give some feedback and you can have a realistic image of what you're going to look like afterwards. So in my case, you can see that in the first before and after, I had no more chin. So I was able to mention that I wanted my face to remain closer to the shape it originally had. So obviously Dr. John took that into consideration and made the changes, and I was much happier with the final look. By the way, disregard the lips. The program tends to make them look quite weird, but to be honest, the first month, your lips are going to pretty much disappear from just being swollen. If you're having corrective double jaw surgery, it might be recommended for you to get some facial contouring at the same time for better results, like zygoma reduction, angular jaw correction, or genioplasty, because if your occlusion and jaws are corrected, the rest of your features might still make you look asymmetrical. In my case, to complement my corrective double jaw surgery, Dr. Yoon and John recommended angular jaw correction and genioplasty. Overall, it would shorten the length of my face a little bit, and it would give me a softer, less thin look, and from the side profile it would give me a little bit more projection for my chin. If you're having double jaw surgery, you're going to need to arrive a week early for the imprints, for the wafer, so now I had a few days to enjoy myself and be a tourist. I did do some sightseeing, some shopping, and I said goodbye to solid food. I saw this Harry Potter prop, so you know I had to. I also drank a latte with my face on it, which was an experience on its own. And I even went to the Trick Eye Museum and had way too much fun. Like, way, way too much fun. I definitely recommend going there if you're ever in Seoul. On surgery day, I put on my sexy, sexy hospital clothes and then my bracelet, and I had a quick consultation with both doctors. First off with Dr. Yoon just to make sure he could answer any last minute questions, and then with Dr. John so I could try the wafer to make sure it actually fit. After that, it was time to say my goodbye and then just go for it. So this was part one of my surgery vlog in Korea. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. And I will see you in part two very soon.